Welcome back to the off-road trailer build. Today, we're gonna make rock sliders for the trailer, so stay tuned. The rock sliders on the Tacoma are invaluable for protecting against rocks and trees. They're also a great step to get up and get things off the top of the truck. Now the trailer needs sliders. The back doesn't matter so much, but this bottom section here, though it is steel on the bottom, you don't want to get the siding ripped off by a tree. Also want to protect this front corner. Being able to step on the rock sliders to reach the roof and clean the solar panels is also going to be an added bonus. Now the main thing I need to figure out is whether I want to weld them or bolt them. I'm thinking I'm going to drill holes and bolt them on. And we're going to take a little shortcut. Since I don't have a way to bend tubes, I bought these old sliders. I think they were off of a JK for pretty cheap on Marketplace. So we're going to do some measurements, figure out where we want them to end up, and then we'll modify these to fit. After a whole lot of measuring and test fitting and remeasuring and retest fitting, this is what I've come up with. So I'm going to start by centering these pieces on the door. So you can see the center line. And then we're just going to modify this front end. So I want to be able to have a little step here to be able to step up. I also am limited because I can't mount to this cross member or to this side member because there's a support underneath. So I have to mount it here. So this edge is the front of the box. I'm going to cut along here. So this will extend out. I'm going to cut here. This piece will slide back to here. I'm going to have to figure that out, that angle, and cut it in here and move this plate. We'll do that later. To clean up the end, I'm going to cut right after this support. And I'm going to cut right at the edge here. Then I'm going to figure out the length that this needs to be to fill in this gap right here, just to make that look nice and clean and to be able to kick off the trees if I hit something. So that's what we're looking at. Here's the cutting setup on the Evo saw. Okay, here's all the cut pieces, kind of mocked up where they're going to go. You see how it lines up. The two top bolts are a little too tall, so I think I'm going to redo it. And here are the sliders laid out and ready to be tacked up on the square tube. So once we get that in place, then we'll come back and tack the round tubes. There's a couple little tacks to get us started. We're gonna go ahead and flip it over and do the other side now. The best part about using the jig is that I can just flip it over and clamp it back down, and now I can tack the other side. All right, with the tack welded all the way around, it's unlikely to move, so we're gonna go ahead and run some welds and finish off the top sides. And then we'll flip it over and do the other side. Here's a look at the first pass. I think it came out pretty good. I'm no expert, but I can clean that up. Before I disassemble the jig, I'm gonna go ahead and tack these little tubes in place. I'm gonna use magnets to line them up. I'll just give them a few tacks, and then I'll take everything apart and start welding everything back together. Here's a little test fit before I get all the welding done. I'm still going to redo the mounting plates on both sides, but that looks pretty sweet. Made some good progress. Got the 4 brackets created and the holes for the bolts. Now we just need to weld them onto either end, and then we'll line everything up and bolt them onto the trailer. Now that we have the mounting plates ready, I've got them mocked up. We're gonna go ahead and tack these ones into place, and then we'll tackle the other side. Now with the angled end mocked up, I'm gonna tack these guys into place. Here's a mock fit. Looks pretty sweet. So you can go ahead and mark the holes and drill them through the frame. And here's the welds on the end of the slider. Here's one side all mounted up. It came out pretty good. I have to do the other side, and then we'll deal with the painting. Now that the sliders are all welded up and they've been test fit, we're gonna go ahead and coat them with acid etch primer. There's a light first coat, and then the final heavier coat of primer. I use the whole can on these guys. They see a bit of abuse, so I wanna make sure that everything sticks well. The next step is color. I've been using this Rust-Oleum on my truck rock sliders for years. I do have to touch it up every once in a while, but it holds up well and it's really easy to fix. Here's a look at the paint drying. After it's dry, I'll have to pull it off and touch up the spots where it touches, but other than that, it looks pretty sweet. The rock sliders are all painted and ready to go. Here's the hardware we're gonna use to bolt them into place. They are loosely fit in. Now we're gonna put a little silicone on the holes in the back to try to seal it up a little better. And then we'll tighten down the nuts. Now the bolts are all tight. Let's take a look at the overall sliders. Here's a look at the finished product. I think it came out pretty good. Overall, I have about 10 hours, I'd say, maybe $100 into this project. Totally worth it to be able to protect the trailer though. Hopefully you guys found that useful. It's always good to be able to recycle a product and use it again. Otherwise, this thing would have been thrown in the trash. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.